All right, a recent survey found that Americans are not feeling any better about the overall economy, despite President Trump's declaration that he solved inflation. New data from the University of Michigan shows consumer sentiment dropped nearly 5% compared to last month. And on top of that, the latest inflation figures show consumer prices rose 0.4% last month, bringing the annual rate to 2.9%. Plus, for the first time in 4 years, there are more people looking for work than there are jobs available for them. I'm joined now by Laura Davison, the Deputy Bureau Chief with Bloomberg News. Laura, great to see you. So, what can we learn from these indicators about how consumers are feeling?
So it is clear that consumers are not happy, and particularly in the job market is where we've seen a lot of signs that the market is just not strong. There are increasing unemployment claims. The unemployment levels are as high as they've been sort of in the immediate aftermath of the pandemic. So that's a worrying sign, and this is likely going to lead the Fed this week to lower interest rates for the first time in several months. That means rates on things like credit card payments and mortgages could come down, but it may not be enough for people to really feel that in their day-to-day activities.
All right. Well, people will be anticipating that. They're hopeful about that. But at the same time, you go to the grocery stores and it's pretty costly, and it's getting costlier by the second. We know, coffee, for example, has gone up considerably in the last year. Prices up nearly 21%. That's causing, prices. What is particularly causing these prices to go up?
So there's a couple different factors at play. Grocery prices is one of the areas where we've seen some of the biggest gains, really stretching people's pocketbooks. But there's a lot of concern about the tariffs. The tariffs, went into effect into the spring, but they wouldn't. Companies have been really trying to not pass on these price increases to their consumers, but they're getting to the point as we head into this Christmas shopping season towards the end of the year that they have to start passing on those cost increases. They're no longer able to eat those import taxes. So this is a big area of concern, as the tariffs are really start to hit, and that this could, further fuel inflation, which was a big problem several years ago. What came down a little bit, but it's now at about 3%, up from where the Federal Reserve wants to see it at about 2%.
Mm-hmm. Paychecks aren't stretching as far as they need to, or as far as people want them to. What do you tell consumers who just feel like they're getting hit in so many different directions?
Yeah, this is what you really see people start to, pull back on a lot of that discretionary spending. We're seeing signs that people are choosing to eat out less, or choosing to eat at lower cost restaurants versus higher fine dining or white tablecloth kind of situations. They'll be really telling as we head, into the shopping season ahead of the holidays here. Are people, opting to do sort of bigger, grander, more lavish things, or are they kind of sticking to some of the basics here? We've seen a lot of really worrying signs, both on the unemployment side, people feeling like they, if they have a job, they may not last, or they're unemployed and therefore really cutting back on spending.
Mm-hmm. You'd already mentioned that the Federal Reserve Board is going to be meeting this week. There is a lot of hope, among some circles that interest rates will, drop maybe 0.5% or so. But what if it doesn't do that? Then what?
Yeah, so this is, the Fed is widely expected to cut these interest rates. So it will be a relatively small rate, just 25 basis points, as they call in financial circles, or essentially just a quarter of a percentage point. This, could be the first in what is expected to be a series of cuts. That means that people aren't going to feel, that they're, if they're going out to try to buy a house or get a car loan, you're not going to see, those interest rates really decrease rapidly. It's over time you'll see that, which means that if people are, have been waiting to buy a house, they may want to continue to wait a little bit longer to see those interest rates drop.
All right, Laura Davison, great to see you. Thanks so much.